Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Impractical Machinist podcast. My name is Patrick. You can find me on Instagram as @JobShopperTN.
And I'm Cameron from Machining is Cool. If you were listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we'd appreciate a 5-star rating.
I'm Bradley with Marvel Machining. Also, if you're on YouTube, be sure to give us a like and subscribe to the Practical Machinist YouTube channel.
On this episode, we are joined by Brad Jacob, owner of Maple Lane Machine and Tool, a machine shop in Pennsylvania that specializes in work for the medical industry. Today, we'll get Brad's story as a machinist, shop owner, and machine tool restorer. How you doing, Brad?
Awesome. How you guys doing?
Hanging in there, man.
Yep. Staying afloat.
Thank you for joining us today, bud.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's an honor. It's weird being here. You know, I listen all the time, and look at that. I'm in the other cube now today.
Yep.
Are you going to listen to your own episode?
I don't know. We'll see.
I still haven't listened to one, so.
Really?
No, I haven't listened to any of them.
Dang it, Bradley. We need views.
Right. Oh, I clicked on it. I just hit mute fast, so you probably get my view. As soon as I hear my voice, I'm like, nope.
Yeah. No, it's weird. I still don't like it. I don't listen half the time either. Sometimes I'll hop in and just kind of skip through and see how things went and how they sounded. But yeah.
Oh, man. So, Brad, you came to us asking to be on the podcast here a while back, and I'm certainly glad you did, because that kind of led us to learning more about you. We've looked at your Instagram. I've looked at your Instagram quite a bit, and you have a shop tour video on the Practical Machinist channel as well.
Yeah.
And it's a nice shop. It's a nice tour.
Thanks.
Clean.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a 10-year work in progress. So our business is 10 years, turns 10 in December this year.
Congratulations.
And it started in the basement, which is why my email and my channel is Basement Shop Guy. I guess I'm going into the history here.
Might as well.
Go ahead and get
Jump into
started,
it.
man. I love it.
Yeah. So I'll go way back then. I got interested in metalworking in metal shop in high school, and we had a pretty robust machining program, but we couldn't take it until you were in your junior year. So it was metal shop was the first year, and you got to look at all the Bridgeports and all the South Bend lathes. And then by your junior year and senior year, you could take one period. Then in your senior year, you could do a double period. So that's really what got me into machining and stuff, and I loved it. I got a job at a machine shop, rode my BMX bike, knocked on the door, hey, can I work in your shop? And was cleaning toilets that day.
Nice.
I quit, and then I came back a week later, and they put me on a machine.
Wow, man.
But then after that, when I graduated high school, I remember the shop owner was telling me that you should get into math. You should learn trigonometry because it helps. And that was the furthest thing from my mind. I was like, I'm done with school. I want out. So then I just wound up joining the Carpenters Union with my father and my brother. And that was 1990. Well, I graduated in 89. So I'm older than you, Brad.
Maybe we could
man.
instead of Brad and Bradley, maybe we'll do old Brad and young Brad.
Yeah. Okay.
Old
young Brad, I got you beat.
Old Brad and medium Brad.
Yeah. Yeah. Old Brad and less old Brad.
But so I was a carpenter for a while, and then the economy was a recession. I think a full-blown recession. And then I went to computer school and became a computer programmer, and then found my way back to metalworking by needing a part one day. And it's funny how a thought process can be life-changing. And I needed a bushing for something. And I kind of go into detail in the shop tour about this, but I needed a bushing for something. And it led me to think what kind of machines that we had back in high school. And, and I remembered, these were South Bend lathes. And then I did a Google search, and it dropped me into a forum in Practical Machinist where they were restoring all of the lathes. And it was just like, wow, this is super cool. I must do this. And then I wound up buying a machine, a lathe, the South Bend lathe, and took it apart. And had no idea how to do any of that stuff, the restoration. And it was all just, asking questions on PM, learning on Practical Machinist. But if you guys know, with forums, you could post like it was either 3 or 5 pictures. And I got real sick of posting like 5 pictures, uploading each one. So I thought, you know what, I'll create like a slideshow on my Mac at the time. And then I'll post it to YouTube and people can look at my slideshows. I could just host it there because I saw somebody had posted something like that. And obviously, you got to create an email, and I'm in my basement shop guy was, about the thick of it. 30 seconds of thought went into that,
Yes.
a whole 30 seconds. And then, and I would do little projects and post videos. And then I learned about monetization and all that from Stan Zinkowski, the Barzy guy. And then the rest is history, got onto YouTube, started making videos, hand videos. I never would go in front of the camera. And then one day I decided, you know what, time to bite the bullet and go in front of the camera.
What was it like making that jump?
Oh God. My kids would pull up the video just to haze me, and, they would pull it up and laugh at it. My daughter would do that especially. But yeah, I mean, it was nerve-wracking, definitely. It was really self-conscious. And people would say, "Oh, you're definitely from the East Coast. We could tell." And I was like, "Why?" And they say, you got this air about you, this kind of like, like tough, like New York kind of guy, like you don't want to talk to anybody, like negative." And I was like, I'm the furthest thing from that. I said, I think what you're seeing is just nerves.
Yeah.
And then, later on in the videos, you could see, I guess I warm up and lose the East Coast thing.
we can still hear it.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe people also associate the accent with just like pissed off Northeastern city.
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. I mean, God, I got some stories, man. Yeah. So you come across the stereotypical New Yorkers when you're in New York. Cause I used to work in New York. And yeah, I remember clearly asking one guy one time for the time, and he was like, "No." "Really? No?" "Yep. No." And he just kept walking.
And you do that in Minnesota, people just like surround you.
Wow. Are you originally from Pennsylvania, Brad?
No, I'm born and raised in New Jersey.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which is even worse.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody from New Jersey out there, but no, I mean, Central Jersey. And then I moved to Pennsylvania like right after 9/11.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I basically, in a way, you and I kind of started machining about the same time.
Mhm.
And other than what you had in high school, I started in about 2014, and I remember when like Adam Booth and John Saunders and kind of like the OG YouTube machinists were getting started and getting big and stuff like that. And it's funny that in a way you're kind of part of that group too.
Yeah. And I kind of fell off the map with videos, when the shop really took off.
Mhm.
And, my channel was all about just kind of showcasing, the machines that I would take apart. And I use the term restore very loosely because I've gotten eaten alive in comments about you're not truly restoring a machine because you're not scraping, you're not doing, I get it, whatever you want to call it, redo,
Refresh.
refresh, reboot, whatever. Just make it usable, clean and nice, and learn how to deal with whatever shortcomings the machine has. So that was really the primary reason for the channel was, just to show a lot of before and after things, because everybody knows that satisfying thing, the satisfying nature of seeing something greasy and dirty and rusty. And then the next picture, it's beautiful. So that was it. And, I wound up having, God, I had a whole basement. I had a whole entire machine shop in my basement, and all the woodworking tools that I had were all under sheets and pressed up against the wall. And I was coming back from a fishing trip one day, and, this childhood friend of mine who is now my customer, he's like, "What are you going to do with all these machines? You got this whole shop." And I was like, "I don't know. I'm going to just keep making YouTube videos." So he says, "We could get you some work if you're interested. Our company, we farm out, millions of dollars, maybe, I don't know, hundreds of $1,000s, millions of dollars. Who knows what their budget is, but we have a big budget, and we have many vendors that we have make parts for us. So, we make everything from dumb parts, simple screw, all the way up to, machines and clean rooms." So I was like, "Yeah, I would love that. I'll make spare parts for you." And honest to God, my, my foresightedness was like, I just want to make money so I could get more material to make more YouTube videos.
Yeah.
That was the impetus of starting this company.
Didn't think at all about, just going full-blown machine shop.
Oh my God, no way. But it's like the passion was there. I can't say it enough. I relate to your handle, Cam. Machining is cool because it is. I think about it all the time. I come in from a long day of machining, put YouTube on, and watch more videos.
It's weird, isn't it? There's so many people I've
Yeah.
met like that. I'm the same way. I can get my ass kicked all day, and just be completely over it, like ready to get out of the shop, and then I come home and I'm, looking at machining stuff on my phone or thinking about machining. Or if I'm
Yeah.
going to do something the next day at work. And I mean, I don't know. It's like just some people get the bug.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I lay in bed sometimes, just process like my next day, like how I'm going to program it, how I'm going to set it up, how I'm going to run it. And it just goes through my head. And then I wake up and I don't even remember what I thought about it.
Yeah. No, I'll do the same thing. Exact same thing. I'll be in the shower like, maybe I should like switch that part around and do that side for the first op, and then I could hold it this way for the second op or whatever.
Yeah, like I replaced music with quiet thought. And then quiet thought went into audiobooks, and then audiobooks went into machining podcasts. And honestly, that's how I found your guys, your podcast. And I would participate with your conversations. You guys are talking about your shop, like what's your favorite metal to cut, or
No,
how you
it's not how that
how
works.
you get rid of chips. And I'm like, "Oh, I do that too." And actually learned a lot from you listening to you guys talk.
Nice.
Awesome.
So
Thank you,
that
Brad.
makes one. I'm glad.
And what I think is good about podcasts is if you like, what's better about a podcast than a video is a one track, one thought presentation. Today we're going to do this, but all the variety of topics that are discussed on podcasts, and the conversation that goes, and you're getting four people's input or three people's input. I think they're way more valuable than videos. I think videos are definitely in serious competition with podcasts.
Yeah, I would agree with you. There's a lot of good just little nuggets of information that nobody's going to like make a post about, that you're just going to see on Instagram or make a video about like that specific thing. But just listening to people talk and everybody give their input, like you're saying, you just get those random little nuggets of good information, and you're like, or to spark an idea, for maybe how you want to do something in your own shop.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever. So yeah, no, I'm with you there. Like that's really why I listen to podcasts, is so I can learn something. Yeah, I don't really want to just listen to people drone on about stuff that I don't care about or stuff that doesn't really provide anything. So
Yep.
You ever listen to a movie?
yeah,
No.
Fun. I got bored of podcasts. This was probably 10 years ago when I worked at a shop. I got bored of listening to some podcasts. So I'm like, I'm going to listen to a movie. So I listened to, I think it was I Love You, Man. Like I've watched the movie so I could visualize what was going on. And then I was like, I'm gonna listen to a movie that I haven't watched, and then I'm gonna watch it and see how far off I was. That's pretty interesting.
my wife
Oh,
does that
cool.
all the time, cleaning the house,
Huh.
Really?
whatever. Yeah, like she'll throw Friends on. She's seen every episode of Friends like 12 times. So you'll just have Friends playing on the TV, or she'll have her headphones on, walking around the house doing stuff, and her phone won't be anywhere near her. I'm like, are you just listening to the TV show at this point? She's like, Well, yeah, but I've seen it so many times, I can see it in my head. Right, right.
They
Whatever gets you through the day.
I didn't know they had them, but they got descriptive audio movies for blind people. I watched one. We were flying somewhere and I didn't know, and I turned it on and I'm watching it, and it's like he's walking to his car. He opens a door. There's a light on over his head. I'm like, I can fucking see that. What the hell is going? I was like, and I thought it was like narrated for like the first 5 minutes, but I'm like 30 minutes in, and it keeps saying it's like he turns the corner and looks to the left. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So then I closed out and I was like descriptive audio, and then I Googled it. I'm like, oh damn, that was interesting.
Now, Bradley, don't be ableist.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
You see, a lot of people learned that there's descriptive audio movies now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Yes.
Like, I've never heard of that.
You have to listen to one. Just listen to it and then watch the movie after.
Yeah.
So anyways, you like machining. Machining is cool.
Yeah, for sure.
You just
Well,
eat it up.
I love that. Like, there's a what would you call it? Like a progression there that's just funny, because you start with woodworking, and you end up at this point where you're like, I need a part. And I don't want to pay somebody $100 to make this part, because that's probably what it would be. So I wonder if I can make the part instead. And you end up with a machine, and now, look at you. You've got a shop, and the woodworking is like a forethought at this point.
Yeah, if you've ever done woodworking, they say if you work with black walnut, you got to wear breathing protection because it's toxic. And of course, I was making a wine cabinet out of black walnut when all of this happened, and I got really sick, like like COVID feeling sick, really bad. But yeah, I was doing a cut on this wine rack, thinking about like a tenon jig. And that's where this cheapo tenon jig that I had didn't have this kind of bushing. And that's what led me down the path. And, the next day I had like the full blown symptoms. I was sick, laying in bed. And that's when I really started diving into, the Google search,
Yeah.
South Bend lathes and practical machinist.
I've done a similar thing to you, actually, pretty much the same thing. I just didn't get as sick as you are, or you were. But like in this room, I'm in my basement right now, and I've got like just junk sitting on top of a joiner over here. I've got a planter sitting underneath the bench over there, like just other random, woodworking stuff around here. And I was actually doing black walnut in here. I was going to make a butcher block countertop for the island in our kitchen, and there's no ventilation in here at all. I had no idea about, what black walnut could do. But I did a similar thing to you where I was just, running black walnut through a planer. I mean, you've used a planer, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's insane how much crap comes out of that thing. I was just in here breathing. I mean, everything in here was covered in black walnut dust. And yeah, that was not a fun time. But that was also before I found machining. So now I don't care about woodworking stuff at all. I should honestly just sell it at this point. But it's just not not when
it's hard to be a woodworker after you've been a machinist. Let's be real.
Yeah,
because you can't do 5,000 tolerances in wood.
That's the hard part about it. I keep thinking in like thousandths, not fractions. And I'm like, man, that's not perfect. Like, I need to take just a little bit more off. Like, I've got 10 thousandths too much on there. Yeah. But some people still really have the passion for it. Like, they keep that woodworking passion even after getting into machining. But not me, especially not after doing so much CNC work. I'm like, man, you gotta like process all this freaking wood. You've been working all day running CNC machines, and you come home, got to do a bunch of manual stuff with wood.
Yeah. I think the challenge with wood is not so much the techniques, but understanding how it behaves and the building and the design of, how it expands and contracts and stuff like that. I always found that to be the very interesting part about woodworking, just working with its characteristics.
Yeah. No, like I'm by no means I can't even kind of call myself a carpenter or a woodworker or whatever, but I have seen videos and stuff before where they talk about how you build, certain things, like cabinets or whatever, and you build it with the intention of it expanding and contracting, and like how you make all that stuff work together to where, your door's still open properly and, don't get all weird. And I was like, damn, I never even thought of that. Like, I would have just built it and then hoped for the best.
Yeah.
So, Brad, I'm curious. What kind of I think we got to the point where you started doing a little bit of side work for people. How did that turn into? Well, now I've just got a full blown commercial shop.
Well, I had to become incorporated in some fashion in order to do work for, my friend's company, and they are my primary customer, and they're a tissue bank. Um, so, I went the LLC route. Um, the shop was in the basement. I think at the time I had my South Bend lathe, the Bridgeport, a drill press, and a surface grinder, and I think that was it. Yeah, Harbor Freight bandsaw.
Mhm.
Um, and then I went up, made the decision to go up into the garage, the 2-car garage, did the epoxy floor, ran all the electric and moved everything up, moved the Bridgeport out of the basement into the garage. That took a lot of planning.
I was gonna ask you, you were talking about restoring all these machines and everything in your basement, but
Yeah.
typically a basement is not easy to get into.
Right.
How did
Right.
that work?
Um, well, I used a lot of plywood. I used, so how did we get the Bridgeport in there? It was plywood with the engine hoist, um, helped by my truck holding it so it wouldn't go down the stairs, and just thinking through every step. I mean, I remember getting it, wrapping it and rigging it and getting it right. It was balancing on the top step, and that moment that you kind of like push it past and let it start going down on its journey. That was a nail biter.
Mhm.
But, no accidents, it worked good, and then luckily, if you guys remember Keith Fenner,
Mhm.
he used to do this thing called "What's in Your Box?" And they would gather tools, people would donate tools. They would donate the toolboxes to, like, an aspiring machinist apprentice. Um, and there was a guy, who he made a wooden box, I think. And he and I became friends just chatting through videos and stuff like that. And then he offered to help me move all my machines out of the basement and into the garage. So he brought a rollback, with a winch. And I was like, wow, these things came out way easier than they went down. And I had gravity working for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's funny how many people you can meet on the internet that turn out to be actually pretty cool and, like, they're super willing to help, at least in the
Yeah.
machining world.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Is Keith Fanner still around, still doing videos?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
He's in a different shop. A couple of years ago, he sold. I guess he moved. I think he went through a divorce. Um, but he's in a new shop, and yeah, he's still doing Keith Fenner stuff.
Nice. That's
Yeah, he's
awesome.
a cool guy.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's one of the things I'm going to say is, I don't have sponsors. I'm not Mr. Influencer or any of that kind of stuff. I made videos, and I thought the greatest thing that I got from all of it is the friendships, the networking, and the learning.
Yeah. That's what I like about doing all this too. Like,
Mhm.
the I wouldn't consider myself Mr. Influencer either. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like, I like just throwing stuff out there just to help people. And then the coolest thing about it is just the people that I meet and, like, the relationships you build with those people and how you can help each other out. Or, like, whenever you're struggling with something at the shop, like, I can't figure this crap out. You just throw up a post or send out some messages and people are super willing to help. And,
Yep.
well, I don't know. It's kind of crazy how much people are willing to help.
And I think we all have that. And listen, we all have the little show and tell inside us. You do something cool, you want to show it off.
Yeah.
It's not boastful, but it's show and tell.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why I started my Instagram. I just wanted to show off my work, but in a way, it was maybe I can share some stuff that, will help somebody, and maybe that'll pay it forward to where I can get some help from someone. And
Hmm.
it's certainly, I've probably taken more than I've given at this point. So yeah, that's neat, Brad. It's interesting. And you said your first customer and still your main customer is a tissue bank.
Hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, so that's like where you go to get Kleenex.
Cool, very different. So when you die and you're an organ donor, a lot of people think organ donor is you're going to give your heart or your lungs, whatever, and that's true. But if you're an organ donor and you just die, they will come and harvest, skin, um, long skeletal bones, muscles, tendons, things like that. Yes, the company that I deal with, that I do my work for, that's what they specialize in.
I mean, that's morbid, but that's fascinating because
What do you
I
think?
never thought of them, organs. I figured, like you said, heart, kidneys, that kind of thing, not skin, bone.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
for grafts, skin grafts, bone grafts. If you need spinal fusion, they process all the tissue that way.
Hmm.
And could they take my skin off of me and put it on somebody else and they get a tattoo?
Probably.
Or am I ineligible? Do I just go right to the
Um,
cremation?
from what I know of their process, I don't think that's a problem. Um, yeah, I mean, so I've been there and I've seen shipments come in, and you guys have gone to the supermarket and you see a bag of frozen crab legs.
Yeah.
Think of that, but on steroids, but really big and long.
Oh God.
That's cool.
I've seen bins of knees,
Wow.
reaching in there and sawing off different parts. The ball that sits on top of your femur
Yeah.
lopped off.
Wow.
Man, if I worked there, I'd probably pick up an arm and slap a worker with it.
Yeah.
Do they have a section of stuff like rejects that they ship off to the hot dog factory?
That I don't know.
You got the chicken nuggets.
Right to Oscar
Chicken
Mayer.
nuggets.
Well, nothing that gets implanted, that's for sure. I would need massive certifications for that. But I mean, everything from, like I say, anything from small, inanimate, dumb parts, all the way up to assemblies. So I was, I think I did my personal best just recently. We made a press that loads syringes with like pulverized fat tissue. So that was a really massive assembly. It took a while.
Was that posted on Instagram just
Yeah.
recently?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On the green thing? I was wondering what that was.
Yeah. No, I was thinking the same thing because I was following along with that, as you're
Yeah.
pushing little bits here and there. I was like, man, weird do you need to just push something from one syringe to another syringe, but it's a cool assembly. Did you design the whole assembly?
No, not at all. I'm friendly with the design team. And they asked me, do you want to take on an assembly? And I said, yeah, absolutely. I've done a couple assemblies for them. Listen, we do job shop work for them, an order of, 50, 10, 2, 100. I guess that's medium output. Is that what you guys call it? Like,
I don't-
we don't do thousands of parts, but we don't,
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
medium output,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes we do these assemblies. And what's really cool is, you make parts and you ship them off. And then when you go there and you walk the floor, you could see technicians who are processing tissue, which is, like what I was saying, you see some really far out stuff. But to see your parts inside these rooms being made it's mind blowing, and it really makes your work come full circle.
Absolutely. When you're in the job shop world, you don't get that privilege a lot of times. You make a part, you send it, and that's the end of it. But when you actually get to go to the place, either see it in use or when you get to build the finished assembly, there's a different level of satisfaction with that.
And I'll tell you this: there's this other level, the divine intervention level. So my father was an organ donor, and he got into a motorcycle accident in 2001, and he had a brain injury, and it was a disaster, kind of an accident, but it left him kind of like a ghost, right? For 13 years. And he just kind of sat around. He was never the same. And then he passed away just by his health just getting poor. And he was an organ donor. And I remember the day, it was either the night that he died, we got, my mom got the call from the Gift of Life talking about how, they need to come and harvest, right? So anyway, so fast forward, now I'm working for, or not working for, I'm making parts for this tissue bank. And my friend looked up my dad's name and found out that he was processed through this facility.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm making parts now that, I didn't make parts that processed my dad, but, the same thing. So yeah, there's that whole level of this.
If you would, Brad, kind of walk us through like what machinery do you have that you use for your business right now?
Well, the Haas mini mill, the Haas VF2. My lathe it's a Tormach. That's next to be replaced. Then on the mat, that's the CNCs. So we got 3 CNCs. We have a hard-hinge HLVH right behind me. The Bridgeport right behind me. Behind the HLVH is another hard-hinge. It's the turret lathe, the DSM 59, second op lathe as they call it. What else? Trying to look around. I have the original South Bend lathe that I restored. I kind of keep that as, the beacon of why I did all this.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a Precision Matthews lathe, which is just a regular gearhead lathe. I have a Deckel D-bit grinder. I use it all. Honestly, I was using the Bridgeport the other night. I mean, there's nothing like just clamping something up in the Bridgeport to just one-op something really fast. I laugh at all the guys that, you read the battling each other over what's better, CNC or manual machining. But something that I saw you guys were talking about on the podcast was, do you need to learn manual machining in order to start CNC machining? And it was like taking that argument to a different level now. And I find myself thinking about that a lot. Like, do you need to do it? And I don't think you need to do it at all. But on the same token, I can't help but think all my successes in CNC are backed because of all my manual skills. So it's like, the argument continues, right?
Yeah. That might as well be what came first, the chicken or the egg argument.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
There is no, of course, the answer is pretty much it depends, I guess. But
Had to throw one of them in.
had to. It does. But
It's true.
I feel like people are going to be biased to what their experience was.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like I didn't start manually. I've barely done anything manual. I've done,
We can tell.
right? I know that's
Shame.
why I'm able to machine parts so quickly. But no, I don't know. I think you are pretty accurate in saying you don't need it to get started. You don't need it to get into machining or get into CNC machining. However, if you start that route, it's really going to build and develop, the fundamentals, so that way by the time you do get to CNC machining, you've already got things down. You're going to make less mistakes and do less dumb things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And when manual machining was the only way to do it, that's because that's all there was, right? But people who are starting off in today's machining, they're walking right onto CNC, and they're able to be successful.
Yeah.
I mean, when you know both, I feel like the manual machining is like driving like a car with manual brakes and, a clutch. You do it because you like to do that. And it's, there's nothing power assisting you.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I think, so like the way I started, I walked into a CNC shop and was like, hey, I want to get into machining. I didn't even know CNC existed. I only knew about manual machining. And I walked in there and saw all these machines and stuff, and they had one Bridgeport and one manual lathe, and everything else was CNC. And obviously, they're not going to start me out on like their one Bridgeport or manual lathe. They don't even use those to make parts. Like that's just for quick modifications to stuff, or maybe you need some washers for a fixture or something, and that's it. So they stuck me on like a little sharp mill, and you touching off all your tools manually, every single operation and picking up, your work coordinate with an edge finder every time and building the fundamentals that way. So then you understand like tool lengths and how to comp everything in order to hold tolerances and, how to actually pick up, your work coordinate and be like, okay, well, I can't actually touch that edge of my part. So I'll use like a 246 block or whatever and find things that way. And like, so even within CNC machining, it's like there's ways that you can build fundamentals. Cause now, I mean, if you start out in a place where everything's probing and tool setters and everything's already figured out for you for the most part, you really don't build any of those fundamentals or understand, you know, how to do all that stuff like comping to maybe comping to hold different fits or depths on a part or how that even works. Or like maybe you got some kind of weird tall part and you can't actually touch it off with a probe. So you got to figure out how to do that. And like
Mhm.
at those fundamentals, it's like, all right, well, I know how to, make this work.
Yep. I agree.
That's where a lot of shops, I think, with the shops that have employees kind of fall flat is it's easy to just throw somebody on a machine, teach them the bare minimum of how to run that machine, those jobs, whatever, and they lose out on all of the, like you said, Cam, the fundamentals. Like if it's a machine with a Renishaw probe, they don't know, they might not even really understand what it's doing.
Right.
It's
Like-
Yeah, like Brad doesn't know what the hell's going or Bradley, sorry.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what the hell's going on over there with the probe.
No. Apparently neither does Hawk Ridge Systems.
No.
So, but if they're starting there, they might, they don't understand really what a tool setter's doing or what a spindle probe's doing versus an edge finder or an indicator or whatever. Even in my case, I've used edge finders. I've used things like that. I've never used a wiggler. I've never used a chair. The real. I've zero swept a few parts because the old man that I used to work for, he zero swept everything. I've seen that man take a 10th indicator and zero sweep a piece of steel tubing because that's how he was. He wouldn't do anything halfway.
Well, we scrapped a part last week, and had we done it his way, we wouldn't have.
Oh yeah.
Do tell.
Well, honestly, I don't know what happened. But this is a part where I think it's a 4-inch thick A36 burnout that we start with. Rough machine it. So it's a round part with a big counterbore in the middle and like 2 pockets inside of it. And so we rough machine the whole thing, get it stress relieved, and then finish machine it. And so you're at 3 operations before you even send it for stress relief. And then after that, you've got 4 operations after that, 2 ops on a big lathe, our big lathe, and then 2 ops on the mill, one putting holes in it, then another one on the 4th axis.
Good
Anyways,
grief, man.
yeah. And so that operation where we were putting the holes in it after all the tight tolerances had been hit on the lathe, we're like, home stretch, like, cool, we just got to pop some holes in it, on one face and then put on the 4th and do some side holes. Don't really know what happened. The guy at the shop probed it. Logan, I'll just use his name. So Logan probed it.
I knew it. I knew it was Logan.
Had to be Logan. But anyway, so he just picked up center, used the probe, did a bore cycle and picked up center. And he even got the correct diameter because there was a diameter on it. Had like a plus nothing minus 10 tolerance and not super close, but he's like, I'll just check anyway. Since I got to pick up center, I'll just probe that and then just verify that that's good coming off the lathe. Got the correct diameter. Well, went and put all the holes in it when the program was done. He was looking at it and he's like, man, those holes look a little off. Well, somehow everything had been shifted 3/16 in Y. So it's still centered in X, but it had been shifted 3/16 in Y. And yeah, weird. And like, but like getting the correct dimension off that bore when you checked it with the probe and somehow still being off 3/16 in Y and not adjusting anything, not touching anything. Like, I don't know what happened there. So our new policy going forward is, use the probe to pick it up, but also throw an indicator in there real quick and spend 1 minute just to make sure, just to sweep it real fast to make sure you're on center. Cause when you do a bore cycle with the probe, it automatically centers up at the end. So you should already be at center. So when you throw a probe or a indicator on there, you just need to move it over to touch that bore and then just spin it real quick and verify. But yeah, so had we done it, that guy's way, and actually swept it properly and verified that we were centered up, we wouldn't have scrapped a few
Dude,
dollar part.
I mean, there's a phrase I've been using on Instagram quite a bit lately, and I mean, it's true. The old ways still work,
Yep.
and they always will work.
Oh, I mean, I'm like probing the center of a part and then going back and sweeping it with an indicator. I would call somebody a yahoo for doing that. 100%.
And
You just hit it with a probe. That thing's accurate to a tenth. What are you doing? Why are you going back and picking up center or sweeping center of it? But here we are, doing it the old way. Would have worked.
right, it could have saved you unless there was like a programming error, wrong work offset, or
Yeah.
he set it in the
I
wrong
mean,
work offset.
we had 2 parts to run, so
Mhm,
the next one
mhm.
he picked up center, verified it was centered, ran everything, part was good, program was good, didn't change the program.
Huh.
So,
I will say, I've done that on a high value part like that, man. You kind of have to take some extra precautions.
yeah.
Um, and like I was doing a bunch of bend dies this past week, and usually op2 is the center of the bore in the bend die, and I usually probe it, but the bore is not finished all the way through, especially not through the stock. It's usually drilled through with a high speed drill, so that I know it's not a perfect hole. Um, so I usually probe that, rough the stock off, and then reprobe where I've actually got a somewhat finished bore. But there's a couple I double checked it with an indicator just because, hey, why not take 2 seconds, not 2 seconds, 2 minutes to save having to spend 2 hours remaking a part, or in
Yeah.
your case,
Dude, yeah.
2 days.
They still need the part. We
Yeah.
we shipped the one good one, but they still
That's
need
good.
the one bad one, or they need another part, and so now we've
Mhm.
gotta order a 4-inch thick A36 burnout and rough machine it, get it stress relieved, finish machine it, and then ship it. So if stress relief is a quick turnaround, that's still, say we get the material Monday morning, that's still gonna be a week process with stress relief being in the middle of that. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, bummer.
On on the subject of, we've kind of tangentially been talking about training here. One thing I was really curious about, Brad, is I just saw your post about an internship that you did.
Yeah.
I'd really like to know some details about that because you don't see a lot of those anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my childhood friend who, got me connected with the company, his son is in college, military college, and he's studying engineering. So he thought it would be a great idea if, he asked his son, you want to go and spend some time in a machine shop and actually see how these things are going to be made, when you're done designing them. And it was cool. He's been here since June. Um, and he sat down and I'm thinking, what do I do? I've never had an employee or an intern or anything. So his name is Mike. So I said, Mike, listen, I'm going to make you do everything in here, like expose you to everything. Like you'll clean the machines because that teaches you about preserving the tools to make your living. You'll shadow me and I'll show you how I cam things up, how we program the machines, how we load the tools, um, running errands, you name it. Like, so he's done everything. And I said, but at the end of it, I want you to think of something small, anything like a project that you could make that's important to you. And you'll get a way better perspective rather than you just watching me make a part. But if you're designing something, right, you design it that you're going to use and you're going to see it through from your idea, from your head to in your hand. And he's like, okay. So he goes home and he comes, and I'm thinking he's going to make like, I don't know, like a spinner or something, like a fidget toy. He goes, how about this drone? He's like, oh, all right, sure. We'll do a drone. Just the skeleton of the drone. He's going to handle all the electronics. So we put in the other day, after work, because there's times when you're focused on doing work, and then there's times that, I have free time where I could actually sit and be more present with him. So we finished up the other night. We burned the midnight oil. We were up until 12:30, 1 o'clock,
Mm.
and he got it done. And the look on his face was priceless. You know, he held it in his hand and he was blown away. You know, so it was cool though. Very, very cool to sit, and every thought you're doing, you're like, all right, listen, the reason why I'm doing this is because of this, and the reason why I'm doing this. By the way, when you're when you're turning the tools, they got to be torqued a certain way. Just all this information. And I'd look and I'd constantly say, like, I know you're not going to be doing this, but I think it's important that you understand why. So when you're designing something, you could have design for manufacture in place. And he had some glitches. For instance, he had an arm, that's going to hold the motors, and he had some fillets in there, and he had these round standoffs that would go in, but the fillets were too close to the hole, so we had to put them on the Bridgeport and kind of cut the fillets out to get the standoffs in. And he was bummed out about it, but I was like, listen, your mistakes are there for a reason, to teach you. You have to feel that defeat,
And
that's gonna prevent you from making the same mistake again.
and that's a great lesson to learn too, because there's a lot of engineers today that have been an engineer for who knows how long and still don't get that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's
guarantee
funny,
you.
and I just had an old coworker here last week, and I was talking to him, and he said he was training somebody in. And he said he was standing there watching him run something on a lathe. He knew he was doing it wrong. He knew what was going to happen, but he was like, "Yeah, I just watched." He's like, "Because if I went and told him what he was doing wrong, he was gonna be mad at me for telling him." He said, "So I watched him fail, and then I went and told him, hey, this is how you should do it." He said, and he still got mad at me for doing it. But he's like, he'll always remember that failure, so he won't do it again.
Yeah. And the hard part is trying to balance that though, and like still let them fail, but not let them fail too hard to where it puts you behind schedule or,
Yeah.
costs a whole bunch of money.
Or they get hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Good
was just
work.
gonna say that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking lathes, hurt is the first thing that comes to my mind. I mean, if you guys remember our friend Chris Sabatini, I don't remember if it was on our podcast or within Tolerance, but he mentioned the word fail stands for first attempt in learning.
Mm-hmm.
And that, when I heard that, I mean, that kind of helped my perspective a little bit. It always stinks when you screw up. There's no doubt about that. But the best thing that you can do is figure out, okay, that didn't work. What can I do now to fix it, hopefully, and not do that again?
Yeah. Brad, I was going to ask, or I was curious, what did you learn from having an apprentice around or having to teach somebody?
Honestly, not to echo what Pat said, but safety was honestly it was like a cloud that just stayed over me. Like, make sure this kid doesn't get hurt.
Right.
And it made me become even more. It's safety refresher first, but what else did I get? I mean, I got the satisfaction of watching his satisfaction. That was kind of cool to see. On top of that, watching somebody remember what you taught them is great.
That is great.
When he's hitting cycle start and not power off, because that was the first time power off.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we got to do it all over again. And like you were saying, Brad, watching him fail. So he was putting one of these arms on the machine, and instead of having a stop, I said, we're going to have a gauge block, and we're going to put it right there, and you're going to slide the part in, and very carefully, you're going to tighten it down, because we were just putting chamfers on the second op. So he goes, okay. And he goes, you want me to do this one? I said, go ahead. And he does it. And he's like, I'm ready to hit cycle start. You want to check? And I said, no, I trust you. You're going to own it. And of course he made a mistake. He aligned the gauge block against the parallel. So the whole part was shifted about 1/4 of an inch. So he ground all his chamfers into, beautiful virgin stock. And I saw it was in his head for 2-3 hours. And I was like, Mike, it's okay. Trust me. I mean, you'll never make that mistake again. I know that just by the way you're reacting. But yeah, you're watching him and you're like letting him, giving him a little bit of responsibility, and you got to let them make mistakes. You got to let people make mistakes.
Yeah.
You do. I also guarantee you that young man's going to be a much better engineer because of all the experience that you're able to give him in machining.
Yeah. I mean, I hope. I really do. I hope he retains some of it. And he's a real bright kid. And I also watched the personality of him open up. He became more comfortable. You know, he's not so shy, coming into the shop. He walks in and he knows where everything is, and, getting into some of the shop humor and stuff like that. It was definitely a great experience.
Was it his first time in a shop environment?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny watching people go from, like have that, or I guess get used to that being in a shop for the first time. Like they've never been around it, and like figuring out how like people make fun of each other, or, just, I don't know how to be in a shop. I don't really know how to explain it because I'm just used to it, but you can definitely tell whenever somebody's new to it and they're not accustomed to what it's like being in the shop and what the environment is like.
Yeah, it's probably stressful.
Right.
So like my wife works with me here in the shop, and she helps out. And same thing with her, watching her learn more and become more, more useful with the skills and stuff like that. But I'm watching her help him. And you're talking about like cascading, like your training going down. That was cool to watch. And obviously it freed me up to do stuff. I was like, wow, this is great. Like,
Yeah.
manpower.
No, that's an awesome place to be in. Like you've trained this person, now this person is training that person. And that's really
Yeah.
rewarding.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. Wow.
So what's it like working with your wife?
It's great, honestly. So she's from Warsaw originally, Poland, and she came to the United States, I think when she was 19 or 20. So she's been most of her life here, but she has a very can-do attitude. She learns quick. She's like way better at math than me. And she really loves it. Like, she got started with this, working with me. We were selling our old house, right? I used to live on Maple Lane, right? You could see more of that thought process in terms of
Okay.
naming the company.
Those creative names.
So we were looking for, a new house. We were looking for a house that had a shop. So I had to kind of pack my whole shop up and hope for the best, really. My customer, they knew what was going on, and they were cool. They're like, we'll be here when you're back. So I had packed away probably a third, maybe a half of the shop. And one of the guys called up and says, hey, we have a bread and butter part. We make bandsaw guides, upper and lower bandsaw guides at a peak. And so they're like, we need saw guides. We really need them. And I was like, the whole shop is almost packed up. And I said, but listen, I could unpack what I have, to make your guides for you. But maybe you want to place a bigger order, to, hold you over. So they placed a double order, and for 2 facilities. So needless to say, our order was 4 times the size. And she said to me, like, listen, I'll help you. And I'm thinking, like, how are you going to help me? You don't know what you're doing. So anyway, I'm like cutting these things at a peak, and I'm giving them to her. And I said, just put it into the vise here, put it there, tap it down, and press go. And, you talk about the light bulb goes off. She was like, wow, this is so much fun. Like, I could do this all day.
Oh,
Yeah. And, then I went into storage. We got the new house with the shop, and then, started to take it from there, to go more and full time. And so she's great. But,
So
listen, psychology wise, right? We have our ups and downs. There's days when, you stay on your end of the shop. I'll stay on my end of the shop, like anybody. But I can report with all honesty that it's been a positive experience. And I know that there's a lot of people that, that get a lot of grief. I don't know.
So with her being from Poland, is there some imperial metric battles in the shop?
Oh yeah. Where is, I got this one. I'm like, this is for you. So her name is Aretta. I'm like, Aretta, here's your version of it. Cause she's like, tenths. What are tenths? I'm like, tenths. 10,000ths of an inch. Sorry. 10,000ths of an inch. So she's like, when I hear tenths, I think something totally different. I remember that was a good one we had.
yeah.
teaching her about tens.
Man, that's great that you guys can work together, though. Yeah, that's great, man. I noticed that in your shop tour video. It seemed like you guys, you have good chemistry. I mean, any married couple should, but you guys being able to work together is definitely awesome. I'd say there's a lot of
Yeah, I
couples
mean,
out there that can't.
don't judge that shop tour by our chemistry. We were both like real stiff in there. We're a lot more fun in person.
So are both of you full-time in the shop?
Yeah.
That's cool. So you're completely supporting yourselves just off the machine?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we do Xometry as well. That's
Yeah.
that's our other customer. Listen, you got to go in there with the mindset that you're kind of sort of working for a company. They have their rules, they have their methods, and it's got me like, so we're pursuing an AS9100. I know you have to come up with the QMS in the box for Xometry. So that was like really the first thing the first steps of, getting that going.
You got the QMS in box done or QMS done?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see where it would be hard for a shop that has overhead, like we do. But you kind of have to go into it like, okay, we're going to start here, squeeze stuff in as we can. It'll get better. Because I've met a lot of people that like both of the Brads that are in the room with us have had good success with it. So you just gotta
I've
kind
never-
of stick it out.
I mean, a lot of the stuff I'm making, I'd quote it. It's not less than I'd make quoting. So,
Yeah.
Mm.
I think
and then as you get into it deeper, you get into, a lot of people will complain and bitch and be like, well, you're not building a relationship with your customer. Well, no, you're not building a relationship with a direct customer, but you're still building a relationship with somebody in there. Like I can text a couple people right now and be like, hey, I'm looking for work. And, they'll shoot me something right away. Or when a job comes up, they know is something that I can do. They call me or text me right away. So I'm building a relationship with them. So,
Yeah.
Yep. And then it's, you get out of it what you put into it.
their rules are kind of built on the aerospace industry because that's
Yep.
kind of, a lot of like what you're probably going through now to get your certs in QMS. You're doing it for the aerospace work. You're doing it for, you could pick the top 3 aerospace companies anybody can think of, and that's who you're going to do work for.
Yep.
And if you were to go direct to them, you'd do the same. You'd have to do the same paperwork. You'd have to do the same shit. At least with Xometry, they lay it out for you. You get your inspection sheets. They're all done. You don't have to buy high QA. It's all done for you. Everything's predetermined and ready to go. Is there issues them being a middleman? Is there some frustrations like, hey, I just want to ask the customer this. I don't want to ask you and wait. But it is what it is. You get used to it and you work with the system that you have. And once you know how everything works, you just work around it. It just becomes normal.
Kind of on that note, Brad, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, and I want to keep asking when we have business owners on, is a few kind of a group of questions here. I'd like to kind of get a glimpse at your process on quoting work, finding work, and how do you handle customers that pay late?
Well, let's see. Where do I start? Quoting. So I have a spreadsheet that I've created a spreadsheet, which is glorified pad and paper. And I think my quoting process, it's funny, like listening to, all you guys talk about quoting, it's fairly the same. So first, obviously you start with material, right? Go to like Online Metals or McMaster, get
Mhm.
Well, the
what
expensive
materials.
one.
Yeah, right. And then it's really just like when I'm sitting with my wife, we're like, all right, what are we going to do? So how are we going to cut this part? We have X amount of time on the bandsaw, or we're going to order, pre-cut parts. Cycle time will be this, setup time. It's I guess it's the best guess. There are times where I'll actually cam something up and see. And then we send it out. But we have a good relationship, so I kind of know how to price things, lead times, all that. We usually do like a 6-week lead time for most jobs.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they want is a 6 week. So like for instance, the press, they came and they did some testing. The engineering team came, they did some process testing and, pinpointed a few things that they wanted to have changed. So we requoted a couple of things just yesterday. We got the PO and, it's due ASAP basically. But for looking for more work is an interesting one because, we have a good relationship where, we walk the floor a lot. We go there, we hand deliver the parts. And it's amazing, you sit down, you talk to somebody and they're like, oh, we're working on this and here, let's go over to this guy's desk and he's working on this. And, you start meeting more people. And I forgot who had said it. It was on one of the podcasts where they were saying, it might've been Ian, start with the customers that you already have to find more work. And it's amazing how much work you get. Right. So I don't have a lot of customers. We have Xometry, we have our number one customer, and then we got two others that are sort of like I call the satellite customers. But that's how we do it.
Okay. So you basically just you've got such a good relationship with your main customer that if you need more work, you can go to them.
Yeah.
You got Xometry for other filler work or just regular work if it suits you. And then a couple others that you can call on if you need it.
Yeah, and always looking for more. So I did a shop tour video with another guy who works for Campro, Campro mills and stuff like that. And somebody saw that shop video and contacted me, and it was we were making gun parts for them earlier this year. So it was kind of neat. Like they contact you. Oh, we saw your video. So that was cool. And luckily they paid instantaneously. So we sent the parts to them and they're like, we're cutting you a check. So I haven't dealt with any deadbeat customers yet, knock on wood.
Good.
But I hear the horror stories and it's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
It'll happen. We've had a horrible time with it at my employer. I mean, so many of our customers are not paying, a lot of them have long terms to begin with. I mean, they're 60 or 90 day net, but they drag it out to 120, 150. And there's even got to a point, I don't know if he had to do it, but these machines that we rebuild, usually they come built in with like an option where basically if the customer doesn't pay, we can shut the machine down. And he might have had to do that here pretty recently because
like remotely you can shut it down.
Yeah. And basically it's very nice because I mean, otherwise they're walking away with, $100,000 worth of work, but that basically allows you to almost hold the machine ransom. We had another one where they did a rebuild. This was before I came here. They did a rebuild for a customer and they made a bunch of tooling, probably $50,000 worth of tooling. And they dragged out the payment and dragged it out. They were doing like payment in installments instead of paying the, whatever was owed. And then nothing happened for a while. Next thing you know, apparently the job that they were doing that machine rebuild and the tooling was for got pulled from them. And now they're going bankrupt.
Wow.
It's not fun. So, but again, that's where I think there was a lien put into place on the machine where, it couldn't be sold until we get paid or something like that. So I guess that's kind of the upside to like the Bender rebuilds and stuff. You can't really do that with just a machine part.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
You can't just make your part stop working remotely. Till you get the
oh,
money.
it'd be nice.
Yeah, that sounds
and
like
that's
such a
cool.
nightmare.
I've heard of people on some forums say that they've had something pop up on their Haas machine, like the company that make the payment or something, and payments aren't made, the machine's going to be disabled.
Yeah, at my last job we had that happen, and it was a glitch. It was paid, but the machine didn't pick it up. That was annoying.
I think DMGs can do that too. I could be crazy. I want to say I heard somebody talk about DMGs doing that.
truth be told, I'm sure if Haas is doing it, I'm sure they're all doing it.
But I mean, obviously, you'd have to be connected to a network in order to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
So
I wonder if when you buy it, you're forced to keep it on the network unless there's something. Not everybody networks your machines, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that side of it
ours aren't
works.
connected to anything. I mean,
Right.
ours are all just basic FANUC controlled machines, not connected to anything. So we're safe.
I want to say this was on a 2018 machine, so I mean, a little bit older, but I want to say it was a case where Haas would send you like every month or however, whatever their payment was, they would send you a code to put in at the machine. But I don't know, it was a weird situation. Because like I say, in that case, the machine was paid for. Like they didn't finance it through Haas, so they paid the machine off to Haas and then financed it on their own. And but they still got the alert that, hey, this machine will stop working if you don't pay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I suppose that's just the direction we're going with everything with this rent a software shit to it. You don't make it pay me, your cam software is going to shut off.
Yep.
Basically, I hate it. Own nothing and be happy, right?
Yeah. I've never not paid for Fusion, but I would imagine like if you didn't pay for it, then obviously you would lose at least the manufacturing extension.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just pay your shit.
I actually have to get that, Cam, the manufacturing extension.
That's awesome. I mean, at this point, honestly, I don't even know what you lose by not having it. I know some of the things are like, I think the geodesic toolpath, which is awesome for surfacing. Like, I don't know how much surfacing you tried to do.
Just not a lot at all. I mean, the fourth axis is new, so this to me, and I'm actually have to learn it.
But like, so if you say you need a 3D surface, like a weird geometry surface or whatever, something you can't just traditionally hit with, an end mill. It can get pretty tedious trying to make certain toolpaths work. And the geodesic is the best one by far that I've found on Fusion anyways, where it's pretty much you just click the faces you want to surface and hit go, and you've got it surfaced. Yeah. And I mean, there's options in there where you can tweak it, modify it a little bit and change, whether you do like a, what's it called? Basically like a pocketing kind of toolpath. I forget what it's called. Or like a blend toolpath where like, say you've got, a radius on the corner of a part, you could select a blend toolpath, and instead of it just doing, basically following the profile of those surfaces and then just continuously stepping over till it gets to the center, it would run back and forth along that surface just to give you a different finish. So you can switch between those, and then obviously define like step overs and stuff like that. And you can also define like what that toolpath is driven off of. So like you can make it drive off of a center point and like usually just like work in a circle and work its way in, or you can drive it off of a sketch as well. So, if you wanted to have like if you wanted that finishing toolpath to look a certain way on there, you can actually drive those step overs from a sketch. So that's probably my favorite one. And then there's also the deburr toolpath. So that one, I don't know if you've seen videos on it or anything, but that one's pretty awesome too. So
I've used it. I use deburr actually on my Xometry test part.
Okay.
Right. So when you sign up for Xometry, you have to do a test part, and there's this, it's like a compound radius, and it was just kicking my ass trying to get it correct. Yeah. And then the deburr, it was like a trial. Okay. So I signed up for the trial, and it just did it perfect. And I was like, wow, that's great.
Yeah. And I love that you had the option to pick between chamfer or radius. So, I mean, because sometimes you want one, sometimes you want the other, obviously, kind of depending on the nature of what it is you're deburring.
It depends.
It depends, as usual. But there's a lot of times where I don't model, chamfers or radii on a corner. And I don't want to model it because then I got to mess with, how the part's programmed or whatever. So you have that deburr option. You can just throw it at it and say, yeah, give me a 20 thousandths radius on that, however many step overs you need, and go. But it sounds like you did a manufacturing extension trial.
Yeah, just for the deburr. For the deburr.
Did you mess with anything else?
No, I mean, I needed that, so I tried it. But it's funny that, thinking back to one of the parts we made last summer, we did it wasn't very curvy. It was a chute basically for chips of bones that get flung out. And it was at a hardened 17.4, and I remember having to go in and clear it out, and I was using oh god, I forgot what the tool path was, but it was a 3D tool path, and it roughed it out and then finished it up with the ball end mill. So maybe I did do some surfacing.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's really pretty great how much you I like all the different options that you have. And granted, like
Yeah.
I haven't, the only other programming software I've used was 2016 Gibbs. So I'm not up to speed on what other, I'm not up to speed on what other softwares might have. But I mean, you got a lot of options in Fusion there. And when it comes to like multi-axis programming, I mean, it's super easy. Like doing the fourth axis programming, like
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
We got this rotary table that came with the machine. We just bought this machine used, and it came with the HRT 210.
yeah.
And I'm
Nice.
just excited to see like all the opportunities that it's going to give.
Do you know if that machine has tool center point control?
I think it does. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 2019, and it had 68 hours on it.
Oh, nice. That's
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah.
wow.
There's a furniture company out there. I forget the name of them. Chalk something. There's like three names. They're like a woodworking furniture company, and I guess obviously they have some metal in their furniture, but they're the owners of they were the owners of the machine. They bought it. They put 68 hours on it and thought they were going to use it, and then it sat for 2 years or whatever. Went up for sale, and then they thought they were going to get more work, and they took it off sale and then back on. And I found it, and God, the process started back in May, and finally we got it into the shop, and it's basically like a brand new machine. I can't believe it.
Man, it looked new from
Like
what you posted.
Yeah, it
Oh, yeah.
was a lucky find for sure.
Yeah.
You got the Saunders plate on that thing, don't you?
Yeah, I got on mini mill too.
Oh, that's sweet. I always wanted one of those.
And they're great.
It's I couldn't picture without. I mean,
I guarantee it.
Yeah. We've got
Um,
one on our BVM at the shop, and I wish every machine had it on there. Eventually we'll probably move that direction, but no, it's awesome. And I mean, just having that many holes on your table to be able to use for fixturing, just toe clamps even, like when you're stuck with T-slots, I mean, how many times do you run into not having the ability to put a toe clamp right where you need it? You have to do some weird stuff to make it work or whatever. Or even indexing things, like you've got dowel holes all over the whole thing too, so you can just throw a couple dowels in, slide a part up to it, and it's indicated in, just simple.
yeah, the vise is super fast. Yep.
Yeah.
But then you got me. I don't have any holes in my table. Just smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got them
With
stinking
T-slots or
orange
anything.
vices.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your fixture is cool. You could explain that a little bit. I was watching one of your videos where you're touching off your tools, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool fixture. It's the green one.
Oh yeah, I wanted a fixture plate because I was sick of moving a vise, or I never really moved my vise, but I was getting sick of cleaning out the T-slot, so I wanted to do something, and I wanted something that was easier to put my vices on and off if I ever did have to move them. And I looked at the Saunders plates and I considered it, but I didn't want all the holes, so I decided to just make my own plate, and I had it surface ground, anodized green, and then I laid out where I wanted my vices. They're doweled in place. I did once so far. I had to shift them in the Y, just for more Y travel. So I took them off and I added new dowel pins, so now I can shift them back an inch or move them forward. So I know where they are. I know where my X's are, where my jaws are, my X and Y. That machine doesn't have probing, so I can look at my cheat sheet and I know where everything is right away.
It's a cool system.
But the orange vices my vices convert to a dual vice, and they do have some threaded holes in the top. So there's been some times where I've had to clamp something, toe clamp, and I'll just use them. I think there's like 6 of them per rail. So sometimes I can just drop a threaded rod in there and toe clamp on it.
You use what, the 18, I think?
The
18
20s.
inch? 20s?
Yep.
I'm trying to think like what size do I need? And do you do double station? Do you do single station?
Man. That is a crazy rabbit hole to go down to. Because
I've never
no
converted
options.
to double. Do you have double station cam?
No, we have all Kurt vices. We're all 6-inch Kurt, baby.
We
I would never go to the 8-inch vices, but I've never used a double station. But I bought them without, so you can buy them with, or you can buy them without, and you can buy the center pieces whenever you want. But I've never had a need for double.
I think Pat's used them, right?
Yeah, at my last job, we had 6 orange vices. And I mean, on the surface, I do like them. Don't get me wrong. It's just for the kind of stuff that we did and kind of the lack of control that we had over the shop, it was a rodeo. It really didn't give us the benefit that they should have. But we did use the double station quite a bit. But it depends on the kind of work that you do, because if you're not doing high volume work, the double station does not matter.
Yeah.
But I would
say it does. If I need to make 4 parts and I can pattern a program.
Yeah.
Got 4 vices. I just lay them in the X.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
But if
you have
make
8
parts at one time.
Yeah.
But like if you had 2 vices with double station setups and serrated jaws for all of them, and you needed to do op 1.
Yep.
Say you get an order for 10 parts. Well, you can get your first one. You can proof your first one out, and if you pattern the program to all your different spots and you have work coordinates for all of those, and once your first one works, you just keep it running. So then that,
but like
you
goes
don't
back to
solve
what
parts,
Pat said. You got production. They make sense for production.
Yeah.
I have ran them. Shop I worked at before, we had double stations on the horizontal I ran, and we always did production. It was always 40 parts. So it was nice to be able to do, I must have been 2, 4, 6, 8 parts on one tombstone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend go as big as you can in your Y. That's a VF2. So you got, what does travel on them? Is that 16 in the Y?
Yeah.
16, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what are Kurt's travel.
They're usually about 16 inches long.
So at least you get it on the outside, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Inside to inside's like 9.7 or something with hard jaws.
Yeah.
Or 9.2 or something with hard jaws. But I don't remember what the outside to outside is. Hey, on those orange vices, how are they, like the 20-inch vice? Is that just a 20-inch overall length? Is that how they measure it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Overall length.
So I think that would be pretty awesome to have on a 16-inch table.
Yeah.
And why? Because then you get a little bit of overhang, and like it's not going to run into anything. I wouldn't think. Or you can position it to, like, how far forward is the table coming? How much of a gap do you have between the table and the door?
You could squeeze that probably.
20s might be close.
Yeah.
It'd be close. And I'll say, in our case, we actually bought our orange vices for a DM2 that they bought, and they bought it with a pallet changer. And the thing about that is you do not have any room, especially on a DM2. I mean, those machines are tiny. So it's a 16-inch wide machine. And by the time you put the vices on there, if you arrange them on each pallet, I had like a 1/4 inch when they would go past each other. There was a 1/4 inch between the vices on pallet A and B. That's scary, which means if anybody sets them up wrong and there's a little something sticking out, and this is one thing I don't like about the orange vices, the hex on the end, the vice that your handle goes on.
You're only mad because your thing didn't work.
Well, there is that, but also it moves in and out, which on the DM2 on a pallet changer is a big problem, because in that case, and I know this is a pretty specific case, if it stuck out a 1/2 inch from the front of the vise, it would hit the door.
They don't come out though, do they? They don't protrude past all the way open, do they?
Ours do. Now we have the 16.
I mean, oh yeah, I think the 16 and the 17.5 do, because I do have the 17.5 for my VF2. That was the first ones I bought, and them are great.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do. But on my 20s, it doesn't protrude past.
Okay. So that would help a lot.
Yeah.
It is like, God, it's so hard to pick vices. Like it would be so nice if you could do like trial packages where one company could send you like 4 different like vices from 4 different brands, and you could just try them all until you figured out which one you like best. Because it's so hard to really tell what's going to suit you best until you have it in your hands. and you can
Mhm.
work with it, try it out for a
Yep.
little while.
If I was to start over, I think I would load my VF3 with the longest self-centering vise I could find. Something that's got a full capacity, at least 8 inches or more, and just do it across the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, my Y center would always be there.
Yeah, I get that. All right, Brad, we'll try to blow through. We have a few questions from Instagram that we'll try to blow through real quick. And then we have 2 from our friend Luke, Crusader Machining. The first question he had is, can you describe the hardest medical part that you've ever made?
Well, I think it's going to be what I just described earlier, the press. It's made up of a lot of technical parts. There's a lot of my customer deals with a lot of things that are modular on plates.
Mm-hmm.
So hole spacing is always it's always a tight tolerance, plus or minus half a thou. So there's plenty of that on that press. I would say that, or actually, I take that back. This is going to be funny, but the thing that killed us last year was a square picture, a square block with a pocket in it, a rectangular pocket, out of peak, with I think there were eighth of an inch. No, these are about 150 thousandths on the walls, and every time we cut these pockets out, it would bow in, right? So that I think they were about 7 or 8 inches wide, and their molds, they would get pulverized bone and tissue and make bigger pieces of bone and tissue. I don't really know, but they were molds. So we tried putting them in the vise normally, and I'd put the indicator on a solid piece of PEEK, and I would tighten it down, and the indicator would move. And if you've heard the term, everything is rubber, right?
Yep.
It holds true with that. So the material was moving. So we tried dovetails, and that helped a lot. And then it was a matter of cutting the pocket out cutting the pocket out first, leaving the material around the exterior to give it some support, then putting a plug in, and then cutting around the exterior. And you're going back and forth, and it's still bowed a little bit. So we're running a gauge block stack, along the length of it, and it would just, you just get like a little touch in the middle.
Yeah.
And it was within tolerance, but man, it just, that was the most difficult part.
Sounds frustrating.
It
It's
does.
something as simple as that.
Do you think it would have been a good candidate for vacuum work, Holden?
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're about 2 inches tall by, if I'm remembering it, I don't have any around. I don't think I have any around. They're about 1.25 inches deep, figure like in Y, and they were about 7 or 8 inches in X, and about 1.5 inches tall.
How far were they in Y?
1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
might
So way taller than they were on the footprint.
That would have been around 160 pounds of force holding it down on a vacuum plate.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would work or not. But
right.
I just I don't know. I like playing that stuff out in my head, like do that with a down cut end mill and see where it goes.
Figuring it out isn't really the hard part. The hard part is trying to figure it out with the material that you have and not screwing it up.
Mhm.
Because PEEK is like more than gold.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
expensive.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And Luke's second question was, what's the oldest machine you have? I have a 1908 cataract lathe.
My South Bend, it's 46, I think. 1946.
Nice. That's cool, man. We actually have a 1936 South Bend lathe here.
Yeah.
It's not in the best shape. You want to come down and rebuild the spindle for us, or rebush it or whatever?
Sure.
Yeah. 'Cause that's probably all it needs. I mean, it's not a bad machine, but unfortunately, it's kind of become like a, bolt grinding, drill and tap a hole, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last question we got, Firmworks Limited. When did you realize you had the sickness? In other words, can't help but fix old machines.
When I bought my first, the first South Bend, because I paid 400. It's funny. It's like 400 is like the magic number for me. The first South Bend I bought was $400. Ironically, it's within a half a mile of the house that I'm in now. So it's like,
That's cool.
when we bought this house, we were like, oh, it's where I got my first South Bend. And then the second South Bend that I restored, which is the one that's here in the shop, that was another $400 machine. And I think it was around that time because, they come out so nice and you're like, God, there's just so much machinery out there. And it is totally the sickness.
I assume you've probably watched Inheritance Machining, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that guy. And I kind of got that vibe from some of his videos, like the first videos he had where he was working on his lathe and mill and surface grinder. It takes patience, and that's probably where I wouldn't do well with it. But I mean, the end result, yeah, it's pretty sweet.
You just got to listen to podcasts while you work.
Right. What does he always say? But chamfer on everything.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Chamfer
He's got great
everything.
videos.
Side
Like,
product. I love that guy, man.
trying to be 8 doing as well as he did. Like, it was like his first video was good, and then it just kept getting, being really consistently good.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll be cool enough to have him on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, his channel blew up big time.
It did.
What, Brad?
All you gotta do is ask.
Yeah,
right.
I know. Brad, you want to give us your tip for this episode?
Well, I think I gave 2, right? One was, so we have these packing peanuts, and they're not the regular packing peanuts. They're the round circular, like the punched out ones. And I had a bag of them, and I was ready to throw them out. And I said, you know what? God, they look exactly like the inner diameter of a 5C collet. And sure enough, they fit right in there. And, if you've ever been doing anything with the 5C collet and coolant and chips start running out the back of the machine, these are a great thing to plug up the hole.
Huh.
I forgot, what was the second one that I put down?
Pink insulation boards make inserts for windows.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was thinking of racking my brain all day today. Like, what am I going to say that nobody else knows? Everybody knows all the same stuff, but I'm looking over here. So we have one of the overhead doors that comes down, and it's right in the direct path of the sun. And I cut out some pink insulation, shoved it in there, and it literally makes my mini split in the shop just like 10 times more efficient because it's not fighting all that sunlight coming in.
Really? So just blocking the sunlight, like just blocking those windows made that big of a difference?
Oh my God, yeah.
Huh.
I mean, I would assume it would, but I didn't think it would be a huge difference.
Absolutely. It's because of where the sun is, it shines like through this door all day long. So you put it there and then boom. Yeah.
They make tint for that.
Yeah.
That's
Like window tint, or you just tint your window?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Window tint, one where I think it's sunblock window tint or something, but you can't see in, you can see out too.
Yeah, and it reflects out as well.
You can see what the sales guy shows.
Yeah.
Lock.
I have it. Mine, the one on my 2 doors isn't any sort of sun reflection. It was some cheap Walmart shit, but I can see when they're coming. I can lock the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean?
Man.
Every now and then you'll get a guy that'll like look in the window like this, and it's you asshole.
Yeah. Man, I can't stand when those guys
Oh,
show.
I should have asked you that earlier. I didn't think about this. Quick side tangent. Do you take walk-ins?
No yahoos permitted.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear.
Is your shop at home? Did you get somebody ask that of you already?
Yeah.
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 Is that your like attached garage?
It's a 1,200 foot square foot pole barn.
Okay.
Oh,
So
nice.
we have a 2-car garage in the house. Yeah. But so Pat, I had to ask,
Sir,
Yahoo or Yahoo?
Yahoo is the way I say it.
All right.
Yahoo is a chocolate milk drink.
Yeah. It's barely.
Oh,
You can call it milk.
yeah. I had someone make a they took the Yahoo logo or Yoo-hoo
That's what it
chocolate
is.
milk.
Yoo-hoo.
Yoo-hoo. They took that and changed it to be Yahoo, and I think they had like "Don't be a Yahoo" or something.
Oh man,
And that made my day. That was wonderful.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a
that'd
good
be
idea.
that'd be
Right.
some good shirts or like stickers or something at least.
Yeah.
Put a "Don't be a Yahoo" sticker on the fridge.
Right.
Do that.
Or
Or
maybe be a
the
Yahoo.
search engine, Yahoo.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be another one.
Nobody uses it anymore, but
No,
anyway, thank you for joining us, Brad. This was very enjoyable.
Oh, thank you. The pleasure was all mine.
Where can people find you online to learn more about your story?
Well, my Instagram is Maple Lane Machine and Tool, and Basement Shop Guy for YouTube.
All right, awesome. Be sure to check him out, and also, Practical Machinist does have his shop tour video as well, so be sure to check that out as well. And once again, Brad, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
That's all for this episode of the Impractical Machinist podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the Practical Machinist YouTube channel so you never miss an episode.
also give us a like or a 5-star rating if you enjoyed the episode. Drop a comment down below of what you learned from us, or to share your own experience and spread the word. Let your fellow machinists know about us.
If you have any follow-up questions, you can either DM us on Instagram, the Practical Machinist Forum, or on the Discord in our Instagram bios. Check out our Instagrams as well, at JobShopperTN, at Machining is Cool, at Marvel Machining. Also be sure to follow Maple Lane Machine and Tool on Instagram.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Keep those chips flying.